Great. And so I'll be presenting for about 30 minutes about SunShares and the options we have on offer, also giving some general information about solar and storage. And then we'll have 30 minutes reserved at the end for a question and answer session that's live with our pre-vetted solar installers. And to enter your questions in, I see there's already a question in there, so that's awesome. Please put it in the Q&A box. There's both a chat and a Q&A, and if you put it in the Q&A, we'll be able to keep track of those questions and make sure that they get answered at the end. So feel free to use the chat to make comments or whatever you want, but for questions you want to be answered, please put them in that Q&A box that you can see the little icon right there. So I'll start off by giving you a bit of an agenda. I'm going to be talking about SunShares in general. I'll talk about why you might want to go solar and storage right now. Talk about how SunShares works. I'll talk about what you might want to consider, other things you might want to consider when you're going solar. And we'll hear from two guests. We'll hear from Jeffrey Liang of the local government organization's BayREN. And then we'll also hear from Kevin Morrison from Drive Clean Bay Area. And we'll talk about some next steps if you're interested in going solar and storage with us. And then finally, we'll have a Q&A with our pre-vetted installers for 2021, who are Colin Swan of SkyTech Solar, Jason Coleman of Solar Technologies, and Lucas LaFontaine from Infinity Energy. So those are all really real experts in solar and storage. So those are he'll be answering your questions. So I'll get started by just introducing Bay Area SunShares a little bit. Bay Area SunShares is a solar and storage discount program. So we negotiate by pooling the buying power of all 9 Bay Area counties. We negotiate a 15% discount on solar installation and a 10% discount on battery storage that's valid for anybody who lives in the 9 counties of the Bay Area. And we do this as a nonprofit program with the goal of making clean energy more accessible and affordable to people in our area, and then and for the reason of making the Bay Area more sustainable and more resilient. And this is a limited time program, so the sign up period is from September 1st to November 30th. So you have until the end of the month to sign up for SunShares and get started with exploring your options. And I'll talk more in my presentation about what exactly happens when you sign up. But just keep that in mind that you have only until the end of the month to decide whether you want to keep exploring your options with us. And the Business Council on Climate Change is a nonprofit that runs Bay Area SunShares. We're a membership-based nonprofit, originally founded by the city government of San Francisco, that's dedicated to incubating, scaling, and sharing climate solutions among our membership, which includes some municipal agencies as well as major employers and companies in the Bay Area. And SunShares is one of the programs that we run in order to accelerate proven climate actions. And before I really get started, I'd love to get some input from you all about what brought you here tonight. So you all are taking out time in your evening to be here, and I'd love if you could just put it in the chat box why you're here. So whether you know that you definitely want to go solar and storage and you're just making some last questions before you go through with it, or whether you just want to learn something new, you can go ahead and just type that into the chat box if you like, and just share why you're here. And that'll be really great context for me to know what kind of crowd we have, what you're interested in. So you can go ahead and do that if you like. Cool, yeah, so someone's looking for some more quotes from vendors, more information in general, just exploring and hopeful. That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, everyone. Looking about affordability of solar. Definitely interested in going storage and solar. Thank you everyone so much for sharing. This is great. So welcome. We're really happy to have you all here tonight, and we're really here to help no matter where you're at in this process. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'll talk a little bit about why you might be interested in solar and storage, and in particular, why now is such a good time to go solar. So one big reason is financial. If you go solar before the end of 2022, you'll be able to claim the 26% federal solar tax credit as part of your income taxes. And this credit was just extended by the Biden administration. It's supposed to end this year, but they've extended it because that's how important it is to be encouraging people to get residential rooftop solar. So that's one really big benefit among other financial benefits of going solar. Also, this is a really critical time for climate action, right? Anything that you can do to eliminate greenhouse gas emissions right now is super essential, and creating a new source of clean energy on your own roof is a really awesome way to contribute to that. Also, this is a great way to support Bay Area jobs and businesses. Solar companies are really great employers, and we particularly need to revive our economy after the COVID-19 pandemic. So that's another good thing to contribute to. And then finally, living in the Bay Area, we all know that we're already feeling the effects of climate change, right? Whether it's power outages or a drought or extreme heat, we're feeling these effects right now. And having our solar or our energy generated closer to where we live and less centralized makes our communities more resilient to these effects. And so that helps not just you and your home, but your whole community to go solar in that way. And I'll also want to talk about why you might want to add storage to your solar system. A lot of people are interested in this. The biggest reason is because it allows you to actually keep your lights on when there's a power outage. So whether that's because of a public safety power shutoff, or it's just a power outage for a different reason. If you just have solar panels, you actually won't be able to have electricity flowing into your home when there is an outage. And you actually need a battery to be able to store that energy that you're producing and then discharge it back into your home in the absence of power coming from the grid. So that's a really huge reason that a lot of people want to add storage to their systems or get solar systems with storage at the same time. It also can help you get additional savings on your electricity bill. When you have batteries, you can choose to time your charging and discharging with your time of use rate for electricity. So you can charge your battery when electricity is at its most expensive during the day, and then you can discharge electricity back onto the grid when it is at its, the other way around. So you can choose to charge it when electricity is at its cheapest, and then discharge or sell your energy back to the grid when it's at its most expensive time of the day. And then finally, batteries really support the development of renewable energy. So being able to store energy that comes from wind or sun makes it truly a 24/7 electricity source that we can rely on and have that sustainable future that we would like to live. And also just why you might want to do this through SunShares rather than going directly through an installer or trying to do all this research yourself. The first and really big reason is that we have gone through a very rigorous research and evaluation process to select these 3 installers, what I'll tell you more about as we go forward with the presentation. So you know that we verified that they will provide you not just high quality equipment and installation, but also a great quality customer service experience. And they're focused on helping you make the best decision for you. So you won't be pressured or rushed. It's really just about you understanding what's right for your home and getting to know your options better. And then also, as I mentioned, we negotiate discounts with these installers as part of that evaluation process. So we're able to provide a 15% discount on the turnkey cost of a solar installation, which means it includes everything involved in a standard installation, whether it's permitting, equipment, labor, all those things are included in that discounted price. And then we also offer a 10% discount on battery storage. And finally, a really good reason to go through this with us is that we have these 3 different installers. So that means that you can compare up to 3 different proposals and see 3 different versions of what solar would look like on your home. And that'll help you identify better what will work best for you. And the great thing about doing this through SunShares is there's absolutely no commitment to see a proposal. So you can go through the entire process, the full proposal designed how solar will look on your home, and decide you don't want to go through with it. And you can do that without paying any money up front as well. And finally, we're a very experienced program. Since 2016, we've installed solar in over 900, or helped install solar in over 900 homes, and also installed over 100 battery storage units. So we know what we're doing, and we can probably help you with your situation. I'll talk a little bit more about how SunShares actually works if you do want to go solar with us. So with SunShares, like I was saying before, we can really meet you where you're at in this process. And I know that a lot of people are at very different places in this sort of educational and exploratory process. And so that's something that we really invite and are able to support. So with SunShares, we offer the option to go solar, to get solar panels in your house and start generating clean energy, selling it back to the grid. We also offer the option to go solar and get battery storage at the same time. So that means that not only you're generating that clean energy, but also storing it and being able to discharge it back into your home or back onto the grid and getting those resilience benefits with your battery. And then finally, if you're somebody that already has solar, you can get a battery installed to work with your existing solar system through SunShares and get those resilience benefits. So those are the three options that we offer. And you can do all three of those things with all three of our selected installers. We have Infinity Energy, SkyTech Solar, and Solar Technologies, who are all very experienced and knowledgeable practitioners that can help you figure out what's the best and most beneficial for you. So SunShares, the process of going solar with SunShares really starts when you sign up on our website. And after I'm done talking, I'll put the link into the chat. It's also most likely in your email if you registered for this webinar. But when you sign up, you'll let us know which of those three installers you'd like to hear from. So you can choose all three, just one, it's totally up to you. And they'll contact you within a week of you signing up. And they'll contact you in order to start evaluating your home and figuring out what's right for you, right? So they'll either conduct a virtual roof evaluation using satellite imagery. And in some cases, they may do a contactless site visit. And then that's with the intent of creating a proposal for you that will show how solar will look on your home, how much energy you'll generate, your expected return on your investment. And then that'll be your turn to review those proposals and see if any of them, you're interested in signing any of them. And again, there's absolutely no commitment necessary and you don't have to pay any money up front. But if you do want to sign a contract, you have until December 31st to do so and get the 2021 SunShares discount. And then typically a solar installation, when there's no sort of like extra repairs or factors that need to go into it, takes about 4 to 6 months from the time of signing a contract to the time that you will have a functional and approved solar system. So you should, if you sign a contract with SunShares this fall, have your installation done sometime around spring 2022. And so when they're actually looking at your home to create your proposal, our installers will evaluate a few things. So they'll look at your roof's exposure to sunlight. That's pretty much number one, is how much sunlight you get, where and how it hits your roof, not only to see if solar is viable for your home, but also to see how to design your home to maximize the electricity generation of the light that you do have. And then they'll also look at your roof itself. So they'll look at what your roof is made of. They'll look at the angle of your roof. They'll look at what kind of condition it's in. It's important, obviously, since roofs have lifespans, to not install, or probably not install solar if it needs to be replaced soon. And if that is the case, our installers can notify you of that and help you work to find a roofing contractor and do that all as part of your solar installation. And because it's something that comes up pretty often. And finally, they'll look with you at your energy usage, and they'll look at that to size your system correctly and make sure that it's generating the optimal amount of energy for your home. And then finally, if you're interested in battery storage, they'll talk to you about your essential loads in designing that system so that they know what exactly you want to be able to power with that battery in the case of an outage. So next we will talk about the various solar storage options that are out there. This is a growing industry, and even more than just a few years ago, there's a lot of different options out there in the market. So it's good to know the factors by which to evaluate your different options so you can know maybe what you might be interested in. And this is a little bit technical, so it's okay if you're not like 100% there with me on this, but our installers are the experts, and they're very much here to guide you through that process and to help you understand these options better. But it's really good to know as a consumer sort of what the differences are between different models. So one good thing to pay attention to is a maximum usable capacity of the battery. And that's pretty simple. It's just the amount of electricity that your battery can actually store within it, which pretty much translates to how long you can power your home with your battery in the case of an outage. So that's one thing to consider. And you'd also may want to look at the power rating of the battery, which is the amount of electricity that can be discharged at any one time. So for example, if in the case of an outage, you want to power your refrigerator and a piece of medical equipment and a second refrigerator, you'll probably want a battery with a higher power rating than if you just want to charge your phone and keep a few lights on at night. So that's another thing to look into. And then finally, it's good to look at the round trip efficiency of the battery. In any electrical transfer, there'll be some energy that's lost, but that percentage just varies. So you can look and see what percentage of the electricity that goes into your battery can actually be discharged and used in your home. And it's also good to know with batteries that a lot of people, just like us, are very interested in getting battery storage and having your home seem more resilient. But at the same time, batteries are affected by the supply chain constraints that are affecting a number of other commodities. So this is just good to know, and to know that the timeline of when those batteries can be arrived and installed varies based on the model that you choose, because different manufacturers have different constraints. And we're lucky to have 3 really fabulous installers that are following this very closely and keeping us up to date with what models are actually available, and letting us know exactly when they can get them. So they're really the people to rely on in this case. It's also really good to know that if you want to go solar and storage at the same time, your solar system can often be installed before your battery arrives. And all the electrical work can be done, so it's ready to just install that battery and be functional. And this is not to discourage you from going storage. It's just really good to have your expectations sort of set, to know that there may be a wait, and just to emphasize talking to your installers about what your actual options are. And now I'll turn to some additional clean energy options for people in the Bay Area. Going solar is one of the really important things to do is to consider your future energy needs. So not just looking at your current energy usage, but talking to installers about if there's anything that's going to change in the future. So for example, you may want to improve your home's energy efficiency and reduce your electricity consumption, or like many people in the Bay Area, you may be thinking about switching to electric appliances and electrifying things in your home that may currently use gas. So whether it's your cooktop or your water heater or even your car, there are options out there that now use electricity rather than natural gas. That's a really important sort of frontier for decarbonization right now. So it's a really great thing to get involved in. And we're very lucky in the Bay Area to have program partners that are offering education and also discounts and rebates on these same things. So we have our partner BayREN, who's going to be talking about, Jeffrey's going to be talking about rebates for energy efficiency, like adding installation or electrification in the home. And then we're also going to be hearing from Kevin Morrison of Drive Clean Bay Area about educational opportunities and future discounts for electric vehicles. So I'll hand it over to Jeffrey to talk about BayREN.
Thank you, Maggie. So my name is Jeffrey Liang. I work for BayREN, and so probably most of you haven't heard of BayREN before, but BayREN is the Bay Area Regional Energy Network, and we are composed of the 9 Bay Area counties, as you can see in this on the graphic on the left. And we received ratepayer dollars. So whenever you pay your energy bill, there's a public goods charge that goes back to the state to run energy efficiency programs. So that's where we get our funding. So we're publicly funded. And so we run several different energy efficiency programs to help people and businesses save. So my particular program is the single family program, which is a little bit of a misnomer because you can get rebates even if it's 1 to 4 units. And there's a multifamily program that we can also direct you to. But so we help essentially property owners make these upgrades to their home. Next, please. So especially as you are starting to think about solar and storage, wanted to take this opportunity to also say, consider the energy efficiency of your home. Kind of the analogy that I like to make is you wouldn't, get a brand new car and run it on flat tires. And so that's kind of the same idea. You want to make sure that before you upgrade this system that powers your house, you look at what's the distribution throughout all the different uses you have in the house and make sure they're efficient as possible, so then you know exactly how much solar and storage you need. And so there's a lot of things like that people don't realize that we leak energy in our homes. One of the statistics we talk about is if you added up all the holes in your house, they'd be the size of about a hula hoop. So now as we're starting to warm up, my furnace kicked on for the first time today, and as we're heating our homes, we don't want to have all the energy that we're paying for being leaked outside. So we have rebates for doing these upgrades to your home, insulation, weatherization, upgrading your furnace, and mentioned water heater here. And especially as you're looking at those last two items, or the things that heat and cool your home and your water, a lot of us have that running off natural gas, so natural gas furnace or natural gas water heaters. And so especially as you're considering solar, this is the time to think, can I move some of those items onto using electric? And so we have very highly efficient heat pumps, which are 3 to 4 times more efficient. I'm not going to go into exactly how that works, but do a little research on that. So you're essentially taking that off of natural gas and powering it with your solar and your storage. So look into those. In the BayREN Home Plus program, we have trained and vetted participating contractors that do these upgrades. So you can go to bayrenresidential.org and find those contractors. And then if you have any questions, we know this can be confusing. So what we've also done is we have a helpline called the Home Energy Advisors, and that number 866-878-6008 number is for that energy advisor line. They can walk you through the whole step. So, and then, if you have questions about who are the contractors, what are the items you should prioritize, they can direct you to resources. And then, especially we make sure to refer to complementary program, just like SunShares, to make sure you get all the rebates and resources you need along the way. So didn't want to talk too much, happy to answer any questions in the Q&A and the chat, but just wanted to let you know that, as you're considering this solar and storage, to think about all the other things you can do in your home together and pair them so that you get the maximum benefit of it all. Thank you, Maggie.
Of course, thank you so much. And now I will pass it on to Kevin from Drive Clean Bay Area to talk to us about electric vehicles.
Oh man, I hate it when my green screen does that. That's just annoying. I forgot to tell you, by the way, I came to the first of these seminars and signed up and got 3 really great experiences. We still haven't decided because they're all so good. So there you go, unsolicited testimonial.
Cool, yeah, so anybody who wants to ask Kevin about SunShares, go ahead.
Cheers. All right, well, my name is Kevin Morrison, and I'm with Cool the Earth. We're an environmental nonprofit with a mission to reduce carbon emissions and air pollution. Transportation is the biggest contributor to emissions in the Bay Area and California, so we need to get out of our cars and focus on clean transportation. I want to thank Maggie and the SunShares team for inviting me to talk with you about driving electric, because when you drive electric, there's nothing better than plugging into clean solar energy from your own roof. All right, next slide. There are a bunch of benefits to driving electric. In terms of reducing greenhouse gas emissions, our passenger vehicles are the single largest source of emissions in the Bay Area. They represent up to 50% of your individual carbon footprint, which means you can have a big impact on the earth when you switch to driving electric. And when you make the switch, there's no compromise. There's an EV for every lifestyle and every budget. When you make the switch, you'll save time and money and enjoy the ride just a little bit more. Next, please. We know that cost is one of the biggest barriers to driving electric, but driving electric can actually be less expensive than driving a gas car. Some reasons for that are pretty simple. During the past decade, EV battery prices have dropped dramatically, reducing the manufacturing cost of basically every EV. There are government incentives of up to $10,250 for most vehicles, and that's right now. That may change. Filling your tank with gasoline can be 4 to 5 times more expensive than charging with clean electricity. There's no scheduled maintenance for EVs, so the average EV driver pays 40% of what other drivers pay, other gas car drivers. And twice a year, Drive Clean Bay Area partners with Cartelligent, a car concierge service for EV discounts. When I leased an EV through Drive Clean just last year, I ended up with a great car and payments under $200 per month. I tell that to you knowing that you won't hate me if you're paying more. All right, next slide, please. You can, oops. Crap, sorry. I need to go back one slide myself, not you. You're all good. Okay, so you can save up to $10,250 with rebates and tax credits for a fully electric car and about half that amount for a plug-in hybrid. The incentives listed on this slide are for new cars only, but some income qualifying rebates and grants are also available for both new and used cars. The California Clean Fuels Reward is taken off the MSRP at the point of sale. The amount is $750 for EVs and up to $750 for plug-ins. The California Standard Rebate, or CVRP, is available for $2,000 for an EV and $1,000 for some plug-in hybrids. There are income limits on this rebate. $150,000 if you file singly and $300,000 for joint filers. And it applies only to vehicles with an MSRP under $60,000. The federal tax credit is claimed on tax liability when you file your taxes and does not take the form of an upfront rebate. This vehicle tax credit is currently not available for Teslas and Chevy Bolts, if you could buy a Chevy Bolt, which you can't. And the credit is for purchase only, but some dealers will take it off the lease price. The home charging rebate is available for charging of all EVs and PHEVs for up to $1,000 of the cost of the hardware and the install. There are some additional grants and rebates available for income qualifying individuals, like the $3,500 rebate for MCE customers. There's a similar program from Peninsula Clean Energy, which also has rebates on used EVs. I should note that income qualifying consumers need to apply for any grants like Clean Cars for All before buying or leasing an EV. Then there's the Clean Air Vehicle Decal, which gives you access to the HOV lane as a single passenger. All right, I've listed a few savings calculators at the bottom of this slide, so you can calculate exactly which incentives you qualify for. I suggest that you check that out because sometimes local utilities or CCAs offer special discounts on EVs, and these pages are great ways to find out. All right. Drive Clean Bay Area is ready to help you. Oh, I'm sorry. Did I say next slide? Sorry, Maggie. Drive Clean Bay Area is ready to help you go electric. We offer weekly Zoom webinars for EV basics and to help new drivers transition smoothly, both with live Q&A. You get your questions answered. We've got a fun website highlighting available and coming EVs, a how to EV section, as well as steps to driving electric and buying and driving guides. We host EV car shows, so you can check out new and popular EVs and talk to EV owners about driving electric. We also promote partner car shows all around the Bay Area. Twice a year, we partner with Cartelligent to offer EV discount campaigns. At the end of last year, we helped 100 individuals switch to driving electric with discounts on top of everything you've heard between $750 and $2,500 in addition to everything you've heard. All right, well, we hope you'll sign up with Drive Clean Bay Area so you can take part in our programs. Thanks again to Maggie and the SunShares program team for your partnership.
Great, thank you so much, Kevin. Yeah, I definitely encourage you all to check out Drive Clean Bay Area. I'll just finish up quickly by talking about options for people that can't go solar, whether it's because you're a renter or because your home is not suitable for solar. luckily, living in the Bay Area, we can all receive 100% renewable electricity from our electricity providers. And you can do this with PG&E, or you can also do it with your local community choice aggregator, or CCA. CCAs are local government organizations that purchase electricity for their residents in order to provide an alternative to investor-owned utilities. And because we're in the Bay Area, most of our CCAs are very focused on providing a cleaner mix of energy than PG&E does. So you can see on the map that most, if not all, Bay Area residents are covered by a CCA. And so it's very easy. Some of you may already be receiving energy from the CCA rather than a PG&E without knowing it. So you can look for their logo on your next electricity bill just to see. But if you do want to upgrade to 100% renewables, it just costs about $3 to $5 extra per month on average, which is really great. And it's very easy to upgrade online. All you have to do is just log on and bring your most recent electricity bill with you with your account number, and you'll be able to start receiving 100% renewable energy. And that's another thing you can sign up for more information about at BayREN.org. So some next steps, if you are interested in going solar and storage with us, the main thing is just to sign up by November 30th. So if you go to our website and sign up, I would encourage you, as you're waiting to be contacted by our installers, to just explore your options. You can see our products and pricing, as well as more information about our program and our installers. And then once you do receive your proposal, you'll have again until December 31st to sign your contract. And finally, like I said, installation should be completed sometime around spring 2022. So to sign up, it's very easy. If you just go to our website, you'll see that big button right in the middle. And then you'll go and be asked to put some personal information just so that we can contact you. You'll also be asked to indicate which of our 3 installers you'd like to hear from, whether it's all 3 of them, there's one you're really interested in, that's up to you, and also what offering you're interested in, whether it's solar, battery storage, or both. So with that, we can start with our Q&A. This is very exciting. So we have some great experts on the line, and feel free to keep putting questions in the Q&A, but I do see that there are a lot already there. So I'll stop sharing my screen and I'll just let you guys know that Colin Swan, our representative from Infinity Energy. Oh, he is here. Great. Great. So all 3 of our installers are represented. That's awesome. And I will be moderating the Q&A. I'll just get started from the top, answering your guys' questions. So, and feel free, like I said, to just keep putting questions in there. So first question, question from John. Why are we restricted to a small number of installers? Why haven't other installers been open to this awesome program? That's a good question. And the answer really is that we want to make it easier for you all. We have to think that 3 is a really good number that gives you multiple options of pretty different solar companies. But it's not like they're out in the wild west of the real world where you're sorting through a bunch of different solar companies. So that's really the intent on our end, is just to select 3 that we know are good options and to make it easier for you to make that decision. So that's my answer to that. And then I'll just skip over this one about the infrastructure bill for now and come back to it. Just Susan's question. Yes, the recording will be available. I'll be sending an email out with the recording and the slides. Also seeing a question about how people find out about SunShares. So John asks, although SunShares has been around, why have some of us just heard of you within a month ago? Was it advertising or something that we did that triggered a mailer? I will let you know that the way that SunShares conducts outreach is through both our corporate member companies. So they conduct outreach to their employees, and also through local governments in the Bay Area. So we have over 20 city and county governments, like City of Berkeley, City of San Francisco, County of Santa Clara, City of San Jose, et cetera, that conduct direct outreach to their residents. So that's most likely if you received a mailer, it's probably from the city that you live in. And that's why you heard about it when you did. So moving on to some questions for the installers. Johan asks, my roof is nearly 20 years old. Is the recommendation to replace it first before installing solar panels? And Lucas, do you want to start us off with that one?
Absolutely. So that's a great question, a very common question that we see. So roof is a very important part when looking at a solar installation. All three of us will conduct a site survey, determine the condition of your roof, and understand the life that is still left behind it. If it is in need of a replacement, it is highly recommended you do it at the same time, because you do get additional benefits. So any portion of a solar install that is required to go solar, if your roof is deemed unsuitable to install solar, you can now claim a portion of that roof under that same tax credit. So keep in mind, always consult your CPA when having any type of tax questions, but it is highly recommended that you do so. Here at Infinity, we are a roofing contractor as well, and we can help support both your solar and roofing projects at the same time.
Great, that's a great answer. And if any of the other installers want to add something, you can jump in, but I'll just keep moving on since we have a lot of questions. John has another question about installing batteries. So is there anything that is an absolute no-go for installing battery? Basically, if we have A, B, or C on our home, it's not worth it to install a battery. Maybe Jason from Solar Technologies, do you want to answer that one?
Sure. I think there are not too many no-go things. I think for a lot of people, it becomes a question of urgency to have backup power or not. You know, the debate sometimes can be with a budget. If you're doing a solar project, you know, would you be doing a battery at the same time? Or some people take the approach of maybe doing batteries a future add-on. So it's not, it can be a budget question in many cases. There can be some no-go items or items that are better not to include on the backed up side of your kind of installation if power goes out. So, you know, for example, if you get a single battery, you don't want to overtax your battery in case of an outage. And so that would typically be essential loads. So you would not put an HVAC air conditioning unit on the backed up side. Because you know that could either trip off the battery because it's too much surge, you know. So there can be some items that, at least on the backed up side, we would limit. Just say, you know, better not to have this on the backed up side. If that's more the goal, then people start looking at it. Do I do 2 or 3 batteries if I'm really trying to get further off the grid and back up more items? I guess the only no-go I can think of is if for some reason it was like not possible to upgrade the main electrical panel and be required. Like some people have an underground service from PG&E where it'd be just really cost prohibitive to upgrade the underground. But even then, there are certain electrical panels that are called solar ready where you can kind of avoid an upgrade and still do solar in a battery.
Great, thank you so much for that. And also, if any of the installers have something to add, you can jump in, but I'll just keep going. So maybe I'll pass this question to Colin. So Patty says that she's been told by 2 solar companies that they can't install solar because there's too little southern exposure on their home, though they have great east and west exposure. Can our installers consider solar for this home, or is it just not a possibility? And what would you do in her situation? Looks like Colin might be frozen. Oh, there you are.
Hi, hi, Maggie. I'm having some trouble hearing you. Could you repeat that question? From what I got, the lady has 2 installers.
Yeah, so the question is about her sun exposure. She doesn't have a good southern exposure, but she does have good east and west. And maybe while Colin fixes this connection, if Lucas, you want to jump in on that one. Yeah.
Absolutely. And it's a very common thing. One thing I will always preface is not every home is capable of going solar, but we all do provide you a free evaluation of what is truly possible for your home to have in regards to solar. If it's southern, east exposure, west exposure, or even if you have property, you can even look at ground mount solutions. But it's all of our best interest to advise you and guide you to the most cost-effective solution on your home. And sometimes the there is no possible solution just based off of the style of home you have or the way that the panels orient themselves.
Thanks for answering that. And so we have another question from Sandy. So she asks, is this for new installations only? I want to add more panels and a battery backup. I have some rooftop panels already. And I'm pretty sure that is a possibility to add some panels. That maybe, Jason, if you want to answer that and just like maybe go over some of the conditions under which that would be possible, or what you kind of consider when you're expanding an existing system.
Yeah, so sometimes depending on the battery, some batteries are more proprietary where it's not as easy to bring in existing solar, but some are quite easy to do that. So for example, the Tesla Powerwall is quite flexible. So what we've done, if someone has an existing solar and they're going to install new solar, we could add, in our case, we do SunPower type systems. You know, let's say you're adding 8 panels to get your production level overall up and to have enough for backup power. Then we can actually loop those both into the backed up side. So that if power goes out, then both the existing and new solar is available to power the battery in your house. The other consideration is the inverter. You might have an existing wall-mounted inverter. Most of those are compatible to move into a backed up situation. Some aren't if they're 10 years older or older, or sometimes even not quite 10 years old. And so we might need to replace the individual inverter unit. Some systems have integrated microinverters in each panel. Those tend to be really flexible if you're kind of transitioning to the backed up side. I think it's just one cost item. Sometimes with different installers, I think even within the program, have a minimum of like, it might be difficult to add just 2 panels to an existing system. So, you know, most cases work out with what someone's wanting to do. They would want to add something around 7 or 8 panels, and then the battery as well. But it's a case by case. If someone's adding batteries, we look at how many panels would be okay to add as new as well.
Thank you so much. That's really great context. And I just have a quick question from Susan that I can answer myself about SunShares. So Susan asks, is this a one-time program only, or will it be open again in the future? I can say that it is not a one-time program. We have been doing this every fall from September 1st, or sometimes some years August 1st to November 30th. For the past 5 years since 2016, and we'll be doing it again next year. So this is not your last chance. If this doesn't turn out to be the right year for you to make this commitment, you can definitely do it again in the future. So let me see. This is a good question from John. I have actually not received this question before. So he asks, installers, got a question for all 3 of you. Why did your company decide to partner with SunShares? And maybe Colin, if you want to kick us off.
Yes, I was able to hear that question. Sorry about before. Well, we partnered with SunShares because it was a great way to get a hold of a vast majority of our customer base within the Bay Area. We work exclusively within the Bay Area, and this way of working with SunShares, it's very educational, we found, with a lot of people. And the people that participate in it are really interested in going solar. So, you know, we find it's definitely worth our time to be involved in this. And the program's a fantastic program, all in all. So it's definitely worth it.
Thanks. And maybe Lucas, do you want to say why you partner with SunShares?
No, to take off of what Colin just said as well. It's our mission and goals to get in front of as many people as possible with the educational aspects behind solar. Infinity chose to partner with SunShares based on that sole purpose of educating the consumer of what solar truly does. There's so many homeowners, there's so many different product solutions and vendors out there that provide solar, but very, very few take an educational approach So it was important for us to make sure that why solar is a benefit is translated, and that's ultimately why we participate with SunShares.
Definitely, thanks. Jason, anything that you want to add to that from Solar Technologies end?
No, I would say very similar. I mean, we're very Bay Area focused, and so like to definitely have the local feel, working with people. But and I think the SunShares model goes a lot along similar to what Lucas was saying. Is it's just having knowing you can talk to a company that has a consultative approach and not so much kind of a almost like thinking of the customer's considerations as an afterthought, and more like how quickly can I go through a presentation and try to have someone sign on the dotted line. It's more, we have trust that people can really evaluate options and then really get to a decision that doesn't feel rushed, but then feels right in the end.
It's a great way to put it. Thanks for that, Jason. So hopefully that was a good answer for your question. I'll just move on to Sean's question. This is a good question about battery storage. So he asks, can batteries be mounted externally, i.e. open to the elements, or do they need to be enclosed? And maybe Lucas, you want to take that one?
So again, another great question. There are different type of battery solutions, and each solution has different caveats. For instance, Tesla Powerwall is one of those that can be mounted inside or outside. But if you look at a Generac solution or even an electric solution, those are two that have to be mounted on the inside of a home. So there are different options, but ultimately we all take that. We look at your needs and where the battery can be placed and drive that solution to meet your needs.
Great, thanks, I appreciate that. So we have another question from Tess. She asks, she says, I see you have a Tesla Powerwall. It did include a picture of one in the presentation. Is this part of the program? What about the Tesla integrated solar tile roofs? Yes, some of our installers are offering the Powerwall. You can see our products and pricing on our website. As far as I know, you can only get the tiles from Tesla directly, but I don't know if any of the other installers want to speak to that, but that's as far as I know about the roof tiles. Then we also have a question from another question from Sean. So Sean asks how easy it is to expand a system after installation. And oh, that's actually, we kind of already answered that. Sorry, I'm just reading this as I go. Sean then asks, how easy is it to reuse panels if you make alterations to your home? So maybe Colin, do you want to address that? Like what happens if you do some kind of home remodel?
Yeah, so the question was, how do you reuse panels?
Or yes, how easy is it to reuse panels if you make alterations to your home? So I guess maybe just like taking them on and putting them back off.
Yeah, it's pretty easy. Basically, that happens quite a lot when someone wants to get a new roof. These panels are warranted for 25 years, so you're gonna, and it lasts probably a lot longer than that. The degradation after 25 years is only about 15%. So on your 25th year, you're producing 85% what you're producing in your first year. So they're probably going to last a lot longer than that. So at some stage, you're going to want to take them off to get a new roof. And what we usually do is we will take down the panels and the racking systems. We'll use, if it's a flat roof, we'll use the mounts that are still there and have the roofer work around those mounts. And then the roofer will take off the roof, put on the roof, and then we'll come back out and put the racking and the panels back on. We also usually use the conduit there, and roofers have no problem in working around the conduit. So it's a pretty easy process. Yeah, it's just very easy. Just there's nothing to worry about in that point.
Great, thank you.
One piece I want to add, and this goes for all of us, in the event that you do need to remove your panels, contact your original installer to help you with that. If anybody else removes the panels that were installed, it will void your warranties. So do consult with the contractor that you had your solar panels installed with to begin with.
Got it. That's great to know. Thank you both for that. Here's a question actually semi-related to that, Lucas. So Johan asks, what happens when installers go out of business and customers still need service, cleaning, or in warranty service. And maybe Jason, do you want to answer that?
Yeah, no, so a lot of some manufacturers are catching up to this to include more labor in the manufacturer warranty itself. So you know, like LG, Panasonic, some of these others, SunPower definitely. So I can speak just for SunPower's case. You know, they're based in San Jose, so they have a long-running dealer network in California. So you know, if for some reason someone couldn't reach us as a certified installer of SunPower, then if you were to call SunPower directly, we've registered the warranty with them, and SunPower's warranty covers hardware and repair for the panels and microinverters. And so the service will continue through them. We've been around a long time, so you know, our goal is to have people always be able to reach us. So there can be some ins and outs between the different manufacturers if you like download a copy of their warranty or ask for a copy of their warranty just to double check. But labor seems to be more included these days than in the past, but still some exceptions on limits, or depends on the manufacturer. But that's been a welcome improvement from manufacturer warranties over the years.
That's good to know. Anything that you want to add, Colin or Lucas?
Yeah, it does happen quite a bit. We do have some customers come to us with that, but you know, as was mentioned by Jason, a lot of the manufacturers have a network of installers that they can lean on and ask them to do the work for them.
That's great to know. So we'll move on to Kate's question. She asks, will the SunShares program protect my information so I don't get solicitations from many other solar and battery companies? The answer is definitely yes. We only share your information with these 3 installers, or actually not even all 3. If you only sign up, for example, to work with Infinity Energy, we'll only share information with Infinity Energy. And that's all that we use your information for. It's only for SunShares, and that's it. We don't sell it or anything like that. So moving on to Sean's question, can the installers also cover other work that may be needed? Electrical upgrades, new heaters, air conditioning, etc. And maybe if Lucas want to address that.
So I can at least speak for Infinity. We do offer additional services. If you need main electrical panel upgrades or any type of, again, like roofing, electric vehicle charging station, energy storage, those are aspects that we can help you with. If it comes to additional like home modifications from an HVAC or insulation, windows, we do have recommended partners we would share with you. But there's only certain scope of work that we can handle in-house.
But all of our installers can handle that sort of panel upgrade, things that go along with the solar installation. I don't know if Colin or Jason has anything to add.
No, Lucas covered most of that all right. You know, we ourselves, we're not a roofing company, so we just have recommendations of roofers. You know, obviously any home improvements within the home itself. I mean, what we try to do is just specialize and be really good at a couple of things, and that is, you know, the installation of solar, maybe putting in an EV charger, and also battery storage. That's what we try to focus on and be good at those 3 things. And then we have partners that we work with for anything else that you need, if it's new roof or electrical or whatever. We have partners out there that you can use, or you can go to, you know, source your own people to work on that.
Great, thanks for that. So we have a question from Susan, who asks, how much our work is being affected by the supply chain problems? We addressed it a little bit in the presentation, but maybe Jason, if you want to speak to that a little bit more, just kind of what's going on with supplies right now.
I mean, luckily we haven't seen too much impact on the solar side. going through COVID, we've definitely just seen processes being slower than normal, like permitting or inspections, even processes with PG&E. But it's getting better now, like getting close back to normal. The biggest supply shortages have been honestly with Tesla, because it's such a well-known brand and they have their whole car side of their business. So they have pressure for like the chip supply shortage from the automotive industry, and people have heard of probably the chip shortages, affecting multiple industries. So it's been mainly in battery storage, like you mentioned, Maggie. So like it's interesting. So like in our case, and this might be some of the other installers, some people might end up liking the Tesla Powerwall, and they just know they're more on a waiting list for that, and so that could sometimes be up to a 12-month wait to actually get a Powerwall for installers. But if it's like we have a SunPower battery, and we've been pretty much able to install those at the same time as solar, so it's kind of knock on wood. Hopefully there aren't any impacts, but so some depending on the product and the installer, it can vary.
That's great. Thanks for that. Colin, you want to add something to that?
I agree with everything Jason said. I would just add that what we've noticed is with our the manufacturers, because they're being squeezed with the supply chain issues, we're finding that they're actually increasing their prices. So for one of the first time in the 13, 14 years that we've been in this business, we're actually seeing, instead of prices of things going down, we're seeing prices go up because of lack of supplies. And so we are seeing, like for instance, end-phase microinverters. We're just being told they're going up by 4 to 6% this week. But I think for the SunShares people, they're lucky in that, each one of us installers, we've already given our prices. We're going to hold our prices, even though the prices of materials are going up.
Thanks, Colin. That's a great note to end on. I know there are a lot of questions still in the chat and in the Q&A that haven't been answered, but I would encourage you all to sign up for SunShares and talk to our installers directly about those questions, because they're really, as you can see, they're the experts, and they're really great resources for helping you figure all this out. So I'm putting in the link in the chat right now, a link to our sign up page where you can sign up like we discussed and get to talk one-on-one with our selected installers. So I'd encourage you to sign up. And then also, if you have questions for me, you can send me those questions at sunshares@bc3sfbay.org, which I'm typing into the chat right now. And I can speak to you over email if you want to have a conversation with the phone. We can talk about that. But thank you so much, everyone, for coming out. It's been a really great evening, and your questions are all really, really, really good, and we really appreciate having you all here. So thanks everybody for being able to make it out, and yeah, hope to be hearing from you. And yeah, feel free to reach out to us anytime. Bye, everyone.